My sunshine has come, and I'm all better, and there's no more rain in this house. All right, that's an Angie Stone special, guys. Okay, you need to listen to that song. Beautiful song. You know, God always has a message for everyone. Whether it be a message you hear on this channel, whether you get a message by walking in the street, whether you see a message on a movie, or whether you look at a hobo or someone's homeless person on the street and you see them carrying their bag, there is a story. So there's always a story to strengthen you. And these stories are placed in your way specifically so that you can learn. Now, if you choose not to learn the lesson, God gives choices and options on so many different levels, it's not even funny. It's all up to you. And when you have a problem, the best thing you could possibly do is go to God and say, look, I'm having this problem. I need you. I need your help, Lord. I need your help. And you tell him. But you have to be careful now. Sometimes I've prayed and asked for certain things, and when I received them, oh my goodness. I prayed for an apartment in New Jersey, and I got this apartment. But the problems that came with the apartment, the person above me, he was annoying, looking in my window, and the landlord was his best friend. So what do? When you report the situation, what happens? The landlord wants to make more problems for me. You see, this is why we have to go to God in prayer. At the time, I wasn't even awakened. In fact, I had never even gone through an ascension at that time. Now I have, we all go through our own ascensions. Maybe it was a subtle ascension I went through. But during that time, I was totally unconscious and unaware. And this is an important situation where we look at ourselves and we evaluate what God is showing us, Again, you can warn other people. Like you could tell a person, oh, don't play with that fire. They're going to get burned. My younger brother, I never forget it. One time he was getting a bath in the sink. He was so little in the sink, and I was trying to reach up and help him bring the soap and bring everything, because my stepmother was giving him a bath in the kitchen sink. And it was a deep enough sink so he could, sit there. He was playing at first, and she said, don't touch that knob. Don't touch the knob. And she kept telling him not to touch it, but he was a baby. And he reached for the knob, and he turned on the hot water, and he was getting out of the water in slow motion. I remember it like it was yesterday. And she was very upset because I laughed. It was a nervous laughter. She was upset. But in all honesty, if you look at the story, you see the baby's side, you see my side, and you see my stepmother's side. You see her side saying, do not laugh that my baby got hurt. You see my side because I was nervous and that was my reaction. You see the baby's side because he was getting out of that water, okay? Each person has their own perspective, but the lesson is still being learned, right? So let's go further. I once dated a guy, and I told him, I said, you need to be conscious of your friends surrounding you. I'm telling you, something's not right. I even warned him about the woman in his life, not knowing that the other woman was my opposition, not knowing. I warned him, and he did not listen. So when I started seeing that he didn't know how to lead, I led myself out of that situation. And it took time, because when your heart is involved, this is what you do. And I led myself to loving me, choosing me. Someone needs to hear this. No matter what it is you're going through, if you're in a relationship that is a toxic relationship, you're dealing with a narcissist, someone who does not mean you well, someone who will get a whole army of people, collude with them against you because you leave them, it's time for you to pack your bags and move on. See, we don't always see that we're the only person working in a relationship. You don't always see that. You see it sometimes when it's almost too late. And some people see it when it is too late and they've been taken out. It is most important that we look at our circumstances. And we reevaluate, where we sit in a situation. Your situation could be with a boyfriend. Your situation could be with a father. Your situation could be with a mother. Your situation could be with a whole family. Because as you know my background, my family colluded against me, wanting to take me out, all for money. And see, they have not and have yet to learn that there are wealthy people on this planet who have all the money, all the wealth, and are not happy. They wish they had someone in their life who would show them or be there for them. You know? Some people have no more family and they don't know what to do with their money. And they go get on the bus and give out $100 bills. And people get upset because, the person who gave out those $100 bills gave it to nice people. They didn't give it to people who they thought were going to be misfortune to other people. I was reading the Te Ching the other day. Was it the other day? Yeah, a couple of days ago. And it's a balancing of sorts. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I understood the book, but some of the lessons, I guess I'm just going to have to learn, just like the rest of us. Some lessons, sometimes when you read things, you have to give it a minute to sink in. And sometimes these messages, and sometimes when you read things and you're trying to learn certain things, they're happening, again, not to worsen the situation, it's to your betterment. But while it's happening, while it's trying to improve you, you don't always see the whole message. Sometimes you need examples to lead in that case. And there were plenty of examples and what have you in that book too. But some things I'm living. So while I live, I'm going to experience certain things to teach me, just like certain things are going to teach you as well. So the lessons that people teach us, when they're in our surrounding, they are teaching us the best lessons. And they sometimes hurt, Sometimes it can really hurt. I remember my first boyfriend, the pain that I felt behind the deception. But that pain helped me to be able to deal with it and get through it the second time and the third time. And it wasn't with the same person. God sends certain people in our lives just to teach us lessons. Sometimes you're not supposed to date that person. You're supposed to be that person's friend just to gain the lesson. And then sometimes we get into the relationship and you're like, wait a minute. He gave me warnings because he was telling me the stories about these people in his surrounding and I didn't get it. Oh my goodness. I went to YouTube and the woman that he pointed out, I didn't get the message when she was telling me either. Shoot. Sometimes you might have to prick your finger on that thorn to get the message. Nonetheless, you will be taught and you will learn on that day. Each lesson is a blessing because it is to get you on track. My mother taught me this lesson. She was teaching me, I told you before, when she was teaching me how to drive a stick, I didn't see it. I'm like, why is she teaching me with a piece of paper? I need to see the real deal. I need to be in that driver's seat. But once I learned how to drive stick, that piece of paper and what she showed me connected. Ding, 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 ding. That's how things are going to happen in your lifetime. Each experience is going to be that bell ringing in your head, and you're going to get it. Just like I don't understand how people are sitting up here taking medication for the ringing in the ear sometimes. They think it's annoying, but it gets louder and louder when you don't get the message. That's when God is really trying to reach you. And you don't hear it because you say, oh, it's tendinitis. Now, I'm not a doctor, so don't come for me. But I felt that ringing in my ear, and I asked for guidance when it happened to me. And you know what? The ringing went away. It was a wake-up call for me. We don't always see the message. We don't always feel the message until sometimes it hits us on that backside. When your parents used to say, spare the rod, spoil the child. No, I won't use that example because that's kind of harsh. But it's that sometimes when you don't listen and you don't listen to the message and you do it anyway, the ding, 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 the bell for that is usually that you get burned from the experience. Like I remember my great-grandmother, I use this example, I think probably too much, but I'm going to use it anyway. She used to say, lay down with dogs, wake up with fleas. And I didn't get it. We were kids when she said that. I think I was probably 10 years old when she said that the first time, maybe 8 years old when she said it the first time. And what she was saying is, be mindful of the people that you lay down with, that you sleep with. Be mindful of the people you even find yourself keeping company. Now, I might associate with certain people. Like, let's say I go to the store and I see somebody needs something, and I have it, and I might share it. A person needed headphones. Okay, I had an extra pair. I gave them the headphones. Now, they were in my backpack, but I wasn't using them, and I'm not going to keep carrying stuff that I'm not using. I had probably 3 pairs of headsets because I fly out. When I take my flights, I get a free pair, and of course I ended up getting another pair somewhere else I went. So I'm carrying them around. Somebody needed a pair, I gave it to them. When you hoard things, that's also a sin, because you're carrying stuff around, you're carrying it from place to place, and you're not using it when someone else can use it. So if you have something extra, let it go. Let it go. Give it to Goodwill. Give it to someone who you know is going to need it. What we do is we have this tendency of carrying things. And sometimes when we're carrying things, it's like that Bag Lady song that Erykah Badu sings. You're carrying these bags around, and what you're doing is you're not carrying just bags. You're carrying information that could have been shared. You're carrying and hoarding, and it's really misplaced anguish or anger, misplaced emotion that you're carrying around. It's not really the bag, it's something more than that. And that's when we have to, tap deep inside and figure out what it is that's holding us back, or what it is that we're carrying really, okay? We all have messages and blessings. And I told you, God was separating me from my family in some cases, because when they had problems, I was the fixer, okay? My brother would say, I have this problem. I say, okay, you know what? This is what you do. And sometimes it wasn't the best information I was giving him, because I'm telling him, you know what? I'll do it. That was for him to do. So you can't be the person that's going to, I once moved to a whole nother state to be with family, thinking I was saving them, and lost myself in the midst of it. God said, okay, you're going to do this. You didn't even ask my permission, but you did it anyway. And I went and I moved all the way to a whole nother state. I moved into an apartment, and I had been making sure that I'm helping my family and what have you. And everybody was getting sick one by one. And I got sick, and nobody so much as went around the corner to check on me. Now, of course, they're my family. I love them. I forgive them for that, because they've forgiven me for things that I've done. Hello. But it's the whole message. I still have to share the message, because it was something that I experienced, and it's important that I share it so that you learn from my mistakes. And when they didn't come around that corner, it hurt me. And they thought, well, she'll be around soon. But when it comes into days that you don't see the person come around that corner, when are you going to come and bring them a cup of soup or orange, anything, Sometimes we don't learn the first time. My sister said, oh, I noticed something about you. When family does it, you forgive them automatically. You just got to keep on being with them. Well, I'm going to show you. And she showed me. She showed me a very valuable lesson. That you can't just forgive people and let them continuously do the same thing over and over and over again. You can't do it. If a person is teaching you a lesson, that's God really teaching that lesson. They're teaching you this lesson because, you know what, maybe they're just selfish, whatever the situation is. They're teaching you, but they're also going to learn as well. Because whatever you reap, you sow. What you give is going to come right back. So by me learning all these different lessons, I decided to choose me. And in choosing me, I had to separate. Now, it's a little different. I have, I have a brother. Well, I have a few brothers, actually. The youngest one said, I never thought that you would close me out. And he was he seemed very hurt by that when he said it. But the funny thing is people don't see what they do. They see what you do. And it's sometimes it could be a personal situation. People don't see it. One of my brothers specifically, God told me, do not. It's time for him to learn. You're going to be separated from certain people because you did not listen to me so many times. So now I'm going to separate you from them because I need them to learn and I need you to learn. And what you learn from this, you might not be able to come back from. Meaning, you might not be able to forgive, and you're going to have to. That's going to be your lesson again, to forgive. So I was separated. And my brothers, my family, other members, whatever, some of them took it very harshly. Some people took it so harshly that they decided to get together, gang stalk, even unalive me. Now, I'm going to tell you, regardless of who did what, who shot John, the lesson is still very valid to every individual at hand, even you. Because some people say family is the most important. And God is going to tell you your relationship with God is most important. But we don't always see that. Sometimes he got to remove certain things out of your life in order for you to be able to see that. For you to be able to even reap the benefit of that. And again, I kept on stepping in. I'm stepping on God's foot every time I'm doing all this extra stuff. God wants you to learn the lesson. You can't keep going to other people. One person went to all their friends for advice. One person went to their grandmother for advice. God said, when are you going to come to me? I gave all these people life, and you go to them. Okay. So be it. It's going to be a lesson you're going to have to learn. We are going to always find ourselves in situations where we can help. Sometimes we should not be helping. A man came to me while I was sitting by water, a body of water, and he came to me with a baby in his arms. I said, and I could not understand, like, why is he coming over here? Because something intuitively said, be careful. And I'm like, what in the world? Be careful. He's a man with a baby. Why I have to be careful? He came over and he asked me, could he use my phone? First he told me a story. First he let me, play with the baby at first. And then he said, my wife is out of town. Can I use your phone? Can you take a picture of us and send it to her? Now you might say, what's wrong with that? But when you have so much stuff going on in your life, you got to look in between the lines. And just last week, every week somebody was coming up to me and asking me to borrow my phone or use my phone. They lost their phone. So I told him, I don't think I can do that because I've already been warned against this. And he looked at me strangely. Then he came again. He said, you know what? Well, can I just use your phone to call my wife? I lost my phone. Now, you lost your phone, you got a baby in your arms, and you live right upstairs. You lost your phone. If I told you the neighborhood I was in, if I told you all of these people around me, everybody's running around with phones, people on their bikes, there's people sitting near me too with phones. He didn't go to them, he came directly to me. Again, when so many things are happening and you get your intuition comes on fleek and tells you, be careful, right before the person comes to you. You don't lend your phone out. So I told him I cannot. And he walked away. Where did he go? Straight upstairs to his house, where he should have been in the first place. Now, I understand you coming outside with the baby, and that's cute and everything. But whose arms did he give the baby to before he went on upstairs? That person didn't have a phone? Again, there are going to be different examples that are going to be made of even you. When God wants to teach you something, he might teach you with the smallest thing. That came with warning. That message came with warning. Your intuitive sector speaks to you. Your intuition. People try to turn your intuition off sometimes I can't say that. I'll say when people are working in the darkness, they'll try to turn that off because they don't want you to speak or they don't want you to know certain information. But in my case, thank God, okay? So the message here is to basically learn from your mistakes, learn from those around you, and by all means, tap in with God, okay? So guess what, guys? That's our moment. It's so lovely being you. Please don't ignore your intuition. If something internal is telling you, stay away from this person or do this, listen in, tap in. It might save your life. Thanks for coming. I'll always remember the times in which we spend with family. Know that we love them even if we're at a distance. But know that love comes in different ways. And God is love. So lovely being you.